Hello, my name is Kordell Snyder, and I decided to do mechanical engineering this year. So first things first, a little bit about me is I have a mother. Her name is Charmaine Snyder. She is a mentor. My dad, Brett Snyder, he is a CEO of a company newly acquired called Grable Van Lines. They specialize in logistics of lots of products, whether it be consumer products or transportation. They transport all the stuff for the Super Bowl, whether that be the equipment for the teams, the video cameras, etc. My little sister Sloan, she is turned 12 in November. She is first year in middle school. She's sixth grade, and she's excited about that. So, next thing, I'm in National Honor Society. This is my first year in it, as you can only be in it as a junior. I play football. This is my, let's see, oh, oops, it's okay. Let's see, about 7th year playing football. So, play here. I love being outside. It's amazing. I love the great outdoors. I could be in the middle of nowhere and have the time of my life for the rest of my life and live off into eating tree bark. So the reason I chose mechanical engineering is because growing up, my uncle had a very large impact on my life as far as raising me. He really helped me understand the importance of hard work and understanding what it meant to fix something right the first time and not just fix it temporarily and hope it doesn't break later in the year. So he really taught me to use my hands on how to do stuff, how to work with my hands, how to fix something right the first time, and how to make sure something works and not fails. Another reason I chose it is because mechanical engineering is such a broad field. There's so many different options you can have, and there's so many different so much creativity in the matter of it, and that you can you can think of anything, and you can take the chance and possibly pursue it as a career, as an option, as a product, or as an invention. Also, you can go anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world will have an opportunity for you to be an engineer of any kind: electrical, mechanical, petroleum, aerospace. Anywhere in the world you can go. I prefer to stay here in the States because there's so many different diverse economic opportunities here as far as jobs and job outlook goes. So this isn't so much a video about what mechanical engineering is, but what life would be without it. You're good. So basically, that just talks about all the different advances that have happened in the past 100, 200 years, and since really the beginning of time with the wheel, about all the different advances that mechanical engineers have had on this planet, and the inventions we've had. We've had automobiles, we've had generators, we've had power, we've had light bulbs, we've had computers. Basically everything in the world, and in this room that you're using right now, you would not have without a mechanical engineer. So most of the research I've done, sadly, was not really specific to what I was going to do for my final product, but I really didn't know what I was going to do. So going forward, it will definitely be more specific about what I want to do. But the research that I've been doing was mostly modern developments in the mechanical engineering field, whether it be a new fuel storage that NASA is developing right now for their space shuttles to allow further flight into space and allow them to stay up there longer and last more efficiently. But it's also a more cost-effective design because it holds more. It is lighter, so they don't have to use as much fuel, but they still have the same amount to use. Also, the career outlook that goes with mechanical engineering is on the rise more than ever in the past 10-15 years because of all the new developments that are happening, whether it be a new housing development, a new building development, a new car development, a new technology development, new plane development. There's so many different developments in the past 10-15 years that the job outlook is always growing. So next is I'm going to talk about my interviews that I've had. My first interview I had was with Mr. Jeffrey Johnston. He works at Zodiac Aerospace, and what they do there is they design and manufacture airplane seats for commercial airliners. So they go through all the design process of creating a chair in the plane that will, in the event of a plane crash, you will survive. That's what their job is. That's what the airlines pay them to do. And in the interview, he talked a lot about the different types of synergy you have to have in order to be an engineer, about the ability that you have to be able to cooperate with the design engineers and the production line people and the mechanics doing all the grunt work, and be able to understand that not everything is going to go as planned, and that you have to understand what each person's job is, so you can, when designing the product, you can get it all the way through with minimal to none resistance from anything, because it all synergizes together and makes sense. He also stressed that in today's society, with all the new fancy gadgets we have, there are so many over-designed products that really are way too expensive to mass produce and really do not get you anywhere as far as from an economic standpoint, and that's what drives companies into the ground, is the over-design of products and the non-profitability of them. He said his favorite thing about mechanical engineering is that you get to make cool stuff happen, and he first got his start in mechanical engineering after college in the defense sector. He really couldn't tell me much about that, but he said that he did, there was a lot of cool things, designing missiles, designing different products that will eventually be used in either a military standpoint or a governmental standpoint, as far as impacting the future, impacting tomorrow even, and today. And it was really cool that he said that the coolest thing about his job is not so much the job, but making cool stuff happen through his job. He also stressed that change is good. It's never, in this field, it's not so much good, but it's not exactly bad to stay in one place at a long time. The more diverse experiences you can get, the better you are set for the rest of your career, because you can pull knowledge from all the different experiences into one brain, and you can use it for this aspect or this product or this project, and you can just combine all those to work for one thing. The next interview does not have a picture, was with Dr. Randall O'Burl. He works at Raytheon, and he works in their supplier division. And what he said that they do mainly in that division is they manufacture and distribute radars, as far as for the government, because Raytheon is a defense contractor. He said they design the radar all the way from production line all the way to the final delivery and shipment and installment of the radar. The radars, he said, are usually used on aircraft, all the new jets that are used in fighter planes, etc. I asked him a very question that was about his major. I asked him if he had the opportunity, would he ever go back to college and change his major, do a different, would he specialize in anything, or change his major completely and go do something like finance? He said no, he would not change it, because he said in mechanical engineering there are so many different opportunities that you have that there's really nothing that you can't do, which really connected with me because that's what I had really enjoyed about the idea of mechanical engineering going into this class. He said that a lot of people get narrow-minded when they're working on a project and keep their head down for years at a time, depending on how long the project is, and they get so narrow-minded that they lose sight of all the other stuff that's going on around them, and they could miss a completely awesome project over here that really could help them out here, or they just, maybe the product they're working on is just hopeless and it really doesn't have it, really is not going to make much of a difference whether it's completed or not because it's so insufficient. But there are people, they focus so much on it that they're going to miss an opportunity that they could have that would be the time of a lifetime. He said that also when you go to college, the best thing you can do after you get your bachelor's degree is to keep pursuing your master's because it'll make a huge difference financially as well as the different types of job levels you'll be able to get. He said that's basically the difference between getting a entry-level job at a manufacturing plant and getting a job at a company like Raytheon or a big-time producer of technologies or TI, etc. My next interview was with Mr. Zach Story. He is a project manager / project engineer at Holton Caterpillar out in Irving. He went to UT and got a Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering. He said that his main job at Holton Caterpillar is to oversee the production of all these different types of generators and the different types of products that go into the production line, as far as making a generator work, as far as the components of it, the actual engine or the power outlets that you plug into in order to grasp the power from the generator, as well as making trailers that actually transport it. He said that it's never too early to get started in the field. By that he meant that it's never too early to go and start getting internships, interviews, interviewing people. Like he said, what I'm doing right now with this class is an amazing opportunity for anyone, and he wishes he had this opportunity when he was growing up. He said, I asked him how many projects he works on in one calendar year. He said he's working on so many different projects at one time. He said he works at about 35 projects at one time, which means he's working on about 200 projects a year, which is a lot of projects, but he said that's really not that bad when you think about it, because he is a project manager and he has so many different projects going on, but he's really only overseeing them and making sure they go smoothly. My next interview was with a Miss Kate Schwarp. She also works at Holton Caterpillar out in Irving, and she is also a project manager, but more of a project engineer. She specializes in the packaging of petroleum engines, which would be the construction of a diesel-fueled engine or generator, or a stationary generator, or a stationary generator, or a mobile generator. She went to the University of A&M at Kingsville. She said that the most important thing while she was in college was internships. She said that without the internships that she did in college, there really would not have been the opportunities that she had coming out of college into the career field. She said that in her field of working with generators, it's so important to know both the mechanical side of generators as well as the electrical side, because they're so intertwined. She said that if I can, when I go to college, if I can get a minor in electrical engineering as well as a major in mechanical engineering, it'll be the best opportunity for me to be able to succeed in the field of mechanical engineering, because both of them are so intertwined. She said that her favorite part about the job is knowing that when she finishes a product or a project and she gets it to the customer, that no matter what happens, and when that customer's happy, whether it was an expensive project or a cheap product, as long as the customer's happy, it makes her happy, and she knows that she did her job that day. I asked her if she liked being more of a project manager, or if she would have rather worked on down on the assembly line, or putting the project together, or putting the product together, or if she'd rather be higher up in the organization, or if she liked where she was. She said that she liked being where she was because even though she wasn't on the production floor, she was still working with all the engineers and the mechanics down on the floor doing all the work, and that she liked being able to have a tangible product that she could see rather than just being higher up in the company and only hearing about it, seeing pictures of it, reading reviews about it, and not being able to actually see the finished product. My last interview was with Mr. Randy White. He went to Texas Tech, and he also works at Raytheon. He is a senior mechanical engineer there, and he really stressed to me that the most important quality you can have as a mechanical engineer is to ask questions of yourself and ask questions of others. He said that if there's no way you can ask questions, then the mechanical engineering is not for you. He said that if you have a project that you're doing and you don't know what's going wrong, but there's something wrong with it, you can't troubleshoot it, and you don't want to ask questions because you're scared of asking, getting an answer that you don't want to hear, or you're not understanding what's going on, and you're embarrassed that it's not working. Like Coach Goff said earlier this year, the Allen Eagle Stadium, the guy didn't ask questions, and clearly it failed, and they're going to have to rebuild the entire stadium now, and that's a waste of $65 million. So he said that if you can ask questions, then you will be better prepared and better suited to be an engineer coming out of college than anyone else. He said, I asked him what his favorite part about the job was, and he said it's creating something from nothing. You go to a lot of other fields and they're just working on something that's already been done or expanding on a new idea, but with mechanical engineering there is the idea that you can think of a concept and take it all the way from your mind all the way to a finished product. And he said that's the most rewarding part of his job, because he knows that he made that happen. He designed that. He thought that, okay, we're going to make this product today, and then a year or two or however long it takes, a year later, it's done, it's finished, it's going into production. And he did that. And he said that's the most rewarding feeling that he's ever had in his life. He also said, like Mr. Johnston said, that integration and synergy is very important without being able to communicate with your team that you're working with, because it's never just you on a project. There's always more people, whether it's more engineers, more mechanics, more salespeople, depending on if you're trying to sell the product to someone or if you're just designing the product. He said there's always more people that you have to communicate with, and even if they're not in your design team or your engineering team, you have to be able to communicate what you want to them so they can understand what you want, and they can communicate with you what's wrong with it, how you can troubleshoot it, how you can fix it, or how you can better design it. He also said that if you get so narrow-minded, then you're going to miss opportunities of a lifetime. There's never a bad thing about, he said, if you get fired from a job, it's never a bad thing. It means you just get another opportunity to go somewhere else and achieve great things there. So who I chose to be my mentor was Miss Shorp, who works for Holton Caterpillar. She's a project manager. She has a Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering, and she's been with Holton Caterpillar for 3 years and 5 months. And the reason I chose her to be my mentor is because going through the interviews, she was definitely the most inspired person that I interviewed the entire time. She was excited about her job. She was excited to be helping me. She was excited she was just excited about life, and that was really awesome to me to know that if I was going to work with someone like that they were going to bring that kind of tenacity to the table. So my original work is I'm going to spend a lot of time. My original work is going to be research for the different types of generators that are used in hospitals and businesses, as far as for emergency needs such as power failures, storms, flooding, etc. And that's what Mrs. Shorp does, which is awesome because I really look forward to her being able to help me with that. So my inspirations for that was, after going through the mentor and the interviews, listening to her talk about how excited she was knowing that when she put a generator into a hospital that was going to provide backup power to the hospital in the event of a power failure, knowing that she was going to be saving multiple people's lives was awesome to her. So that really spoke to me, and that was awesome. And then also, as weird as it is, a couple days later I went on Netflix and I was watching a movie with Paul Walker called Hours. And in the movie it's talking about him and his wife gives birth during Katrina down in New Orleans, and she dies in childbirth, so he has to keep the baby alive while everyone else is evacuating the hospital. But the baby needs life support because she was born early, she needs a respirator, but that needs power. And so the power's out, and he's got this hand crank, he's trying to keep the power on for his baby, trying to keep the baby alive, and he's trying to figure out ways to make new power because he's down there all alone, no one's there to help him, and he's there for 3-4 days. So as he's exploring the hospital, he goes down to the basement where the generators are, and the generators have failed. Why? Flooding, etc. They've broken. So that really, spoke to me after after Ms. Short had told me that knowing that a generator will save someone's life. In this situation, it didn't. Well, the baby survived, but knowing that the generator really didn't help in this situation really made me want to be able to think about what I could have done as a person to make a better generator, make it, figure out what the flaws were, troubleshoot it, and hopefully create a better product. So a dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. And that's from a quote by Colin Powell, who is a former Secretary of Defense for the United States. And that is so true. I mean, you have a dream one day. You can't just, go to bed at night and say, okay, I hope that happens tomorrow. You got to do something about it. You got to take action. You have to be determined to do it. You have to, sometimes you're going to have to put long hours at the job. You're going to have to spend time away from your family if you really care about it, which, no one wants to spend time away from their family, but if you really care about something, you're going to have to put in the work, and you're going to have to sacrifice for the good of other people. So that really spoke to me. Thank you.